Chapter 9. Crisis Core Reunion? No items, no grinding? Hard mode. And we are, of course, in the secret areas of the manor in Nibelheim. I really like this area. It's got a lot of nostalgia to it, and it looks really cool as well. There's some nice touches interacting with the coffins too, if you know what happens here in Final Fantasy VII. There's also some nice nods and some nice winks. But we're now moving towards a slight decrease in difficulty up until the final boss. But still dangerous enough to be concerning. However, if you're going to be using jump as frequently as I am, the combination of stance into jump is incredibly strong. But there's some interactions here because we're moving around a comatose cloud, which I'm not a big fan of narratively because I think it's a bit redundant and repetitive considering that's literally what happens in Final Fantasy VII. But moving through the house is a nice touch, and the detail and some of the enemies here is always good as well. It also leads to, I think this is the really gimmicky section where you have to use a sniper rifle, which I don't know if you can just skip that by running forward and fighting them normally, but I engage with it the same way I engage with the missiles because when in Rome, it feels appropriate, doesn't it? But I just think this place looks visually really, really cool, and I'm curious to see what they do next, because I know there's whispers on the grapevine about a Final Fantasy IX remake, which I really don't want. Please don't ruin my favourite Final Fantasy, it'll just make me cry. But I wonder what they do end up doing. This is us going into some more missions as well, guys. If you ever see me go at a save point, and then all of a sudden we're in a fight in a different location, it means I'm knocking off some missions to try and get some good gear / try and level some things up. I think you need to level the Buster Sword to about 13% to get the proficiency that enables you to break damage limit, and we're quite a ways away from it, but between using stance to buff all of our physical attacks, we're going to get there in no time at all, because these enemies are real beefy and we have to hit them a ton, and stance is definitely going to help that. But a question to the people out there who are watching this, because you are the niche, you are the fringe, you're kind of the upper class, aren't you? They're the nobles of the community that are checking this game out. What would you like to see, guys? You've had the dedication to a project that a lot of people decided not to watch. Because I come from the perspective of, if you like a channel, you'll watch everything they put out. I'm not one of those people that tends to watch certain things and not watch other things. If I'm watching the channel, I engage with everything. I do wander off, so I don't watch the channel. I think that happens a lot, and then you come back and you've got lots to watch, but I like to engage with everything, so this notion that, you know, I only watch Souls, or I only watch this, or I only watch that, doesn't kind of hold much weight for me. And if you're anything like me, you just like to watch what's there, and then, you know, you have some time away and you come back and you watch what's there and you keep doing it like that, and like a binge purge cycle. What would you like to see moving forward? Because I've been thinking about what I can do in the space of this project on the channel. Because January is almost moving towards its climax. We've got some new releases coming out which will take priority, especially if they're good. But there's still going to be projects in the early part of this year in spite of the ad revenue. Just because I like the momentum, I like the idea of keeping people engaged. And I do have the excitement to cover certain things, especially the nostalgia stuff that's getting me really excited. And I've thought about some things I could do to tie off close to this, like, you know, there's plenty of stuff that Square's done that might be worth looking back into. Particularly Kingdom Hearts, because I never did a Kingdom Hearts 3 walkthrough, which I always meant to do. And I've got some ideas for that, because it's on the PC and it runs really well. There's also some really good quality of life mods, which could be fun. There's also the notion of going back and covering other Kingdom Hearts on a much more personal and dedicated measure, rather than just simply beating them. Because you can do things like critical mode level 1, and I didn't cover a lot of the bonuses when I went back to do them, so we could do things like the data fights, we could go back and do, you know, some of the super bosses depending on if they're any fun or whatnot, or just go through the game under some kind of challenge restriction. Because the last time I covered the Kingdom Hearts stuff, it was kind of full on, and people fell off a little bit, but I think if you curate those videos and you edit them correctly and you just put in what needs to be put in, you can shorten down that workload and people won't get as frustrated and as, I'm not going to say offended by it, or kind of, I suppose, exhausted by it. Because that's the thing, isn't it? YouTube has these ebbs and flows between the length of the content people want to consume And when you look at your analytics, you see that people don't really stick for the full thing. You know, this is like a 20-minute video or something, and the average view duration will be about 4 minutes. I have you for 4 minutes. You've already gone right now. I'm talking to myself again. But you tend to have people for a small chunk of that video's duration. And that's where they kind of get on with it and move. And it always makes me wonder how YouTube measures that kind of stuff. Do you think that they look at where you skip to in the video and how much you watch from where you skip? Or is it literally they just believe everybody turns it on, leaves it on for 4 minutes, gets bored, and then turns it off? Because when I was doing the larger videos for a year or two to see how they performed, I noticed on a lot of those, it didn't matter if your videos were everything condensed into one area, you still had that weird diminished returns of people would watch this video for 6 minutes. Like you'd put out a video that was 4 hours long, and people would watch it for an average of 6 minutes. And then you'll put out a video that's 10 minutes long, and people will watch it for an average of 3 minutes. And it's just, it's hard to win, isn't it, with that? Because where I saw it from, because if you're wondering, guys, I personally prefer single videos. I really like that format, but I also like changing it up. I like constantly adapting and hopefully making something that people will resonate with. So I started the channel doing segmented videos and doing lots of them, and then I gradually tried some different things, and then I tried the single video format, which I really do enjoy. But I noticed outside of the first, I think it was the first 4 months, that they didn't work as well as the other format. And fundamentally, they didn't work as well as the other format because you get more views when you split it up. That's just straight up 100% brass tacks right there. There's more videos, there's more people clicking on them, it culminates in more views. Unless you're a channel that gets tons and tons of views anyway. If you're a smaller channel, more videos, more views. It's just how it works. It's just the system, sadly. So you were already taking a bit of a loss by not getting as many views because they only click one thing. But I felt that if you had one video with everything in it, you could just hop around that video and get exactly what you wanted without having to go anywhere else and jump onto other things. Because one of the things that can be really annoying on YouTube is not being able to get to the next part, not being able to figure out where you are or where you need to go. And for instance, if you're in a playlist and it plays them out of order, which, even if you arrange your playlist, guys, sometimes it can do that. It did that for me for years. Every time YouTube changed how they managed playlists, it fucked with the orders of my playlists, and people would be like, this playlist is out of order. And I'd respond with like, no, it can't be. I literally did it myself. And then I'd go in, and it was out of bloody order. So it's sometimes everything changes. You have to reassess everything. And that's not mentioning the worst one. I don't know about you guys. When you watch like a playthrough on YouTube, and it's one of those part playthroughs with the numbered thumbnails, and then you'll be on part 6, and then it plays like fucking a completely different video by Digital Foundry or something. Like you're watching DSP play some terrible game and being horrible at it and just giggling on the side, and all of a sudden you've got like LTG on. Like, what is happening, YouTube, dude? This is a literal playthrough with 100 parts. They're all fucking numbered. They should play in sequence, and then you realise, don't you, the wonderful suggestion engine that is YouTube now is wanting to put some other bullshit on you, so hopefully you'll buy something you don't need and use an affiliate link when you do so. But I should probably talk about this because it's really dumb. It doesn't control that badly, but it controls pretty shittily if you're used to a mouse and keyboard, I'll tell you that. So the whole point of this sequence is that you get this sniper rifle to shoot these robots, and they tell you that shooting different parts of these robots leads to different results, but fundamentally it seems like you just want to shoot them in the light. Because I shot some different areas and it didn't seem to reflect what they told me in the tutorial. And I did this on stream and we were all kind of confused because it makes out like shooting the battery is the best thing to do, and then I shoot the battery and it didn't kill it, and then I shot one of them on the light and it killed it instantly, so it's like, why would you ever fire at something when it's not as good? Maybe there's a strategy here that I didn't see, but fundamentally, I like to kill the robots, power up the gun, and then kill the rest of them. And the whole sequence just comes across as, we need to put something in the game that's different than what you've been doing. What about this? Really bad idea. And then everyone in the office was drunk or high or absent, and they were like, yep, we'll do that. And then it leads to the boss fight against the Eliminator. And this guy loves to fire spells at you, but we absorb every element, so spells are free opportunities to beat his ass. But don't get too cocky because he has tons of HP, and he has a couple of melee attacks that will kill you instantly if your HP is as low as mine. And your resistance is as low as mine, because, believe it or not, guys, using spirit and vitality make a huge difference. Numbers in this game are king. If you invest in some vitality, physical attacks will not hurt you anywhere near as much. If you invest in some spirit, magic will not do as much damage. You can really mitigate a lot of elements if you're willing to engage with the systems. And the systems are really fun, so you totally should. Here we go, Lucky Star, guaranteed crits. Here's Thundaga, just in case we need the life, which we don't. There's Fire-Aga, this is what we want. Look at the damage here, guys. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful to see. You can almost never do what I'm doing here in a JRPG. Hitting for this kind of damage with no investment is really difficult to do unless you know something I don't. Like, even in Final Fantasy VIII, you know, you still have to go through understanding refining and understanding junctioning to get really big numbers. And once you understand that, you can get it quite quickly and you can hit like a truck, and that's fucking awesome. Which people like to complain about that, don't they? They don't think it's very balanced. But here's the thing, you don't have to use the best magics in the best slots, you can balance it yourself. I never understand that criticism. You know when someone complains that one move was too strong and it broke the game and they used it for the whole game? Why did you use it if you didn't like it, if you thought it was ruining the game? It would be like me saying in this video that jump ruins the game and all I'm doing is jumping. It's the same thing Dreamcast guy said about Evil West. Evil West is a boring bad game because all I do is leash enemies and that's it. Leash enemies, electric combo. Leash enemies, electric combo. Maybe, dude, the game fucking sucks because you're fucking shit at it and playing it like a moron. Did you think of that? Because here's the thing, right? I am guilty of playing games like a moron. I am. But it's through choice, you see. It's through choice. When it's your choice, you have to own it. Are you supposed to play Neo without leveling up? Obviously not. Everyone levels up and they get really confused when you don't. Are you supposed to use a level 1 white weapon on a Neo level 1 run? Of course you are. Judging by the 2 random comments I got on a video that I noticed the other day, who were very angry at me because I wasn't using unupgraded weapons to fight bosses on the hardest difficulty, which, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, that fight on that video is about 4 minutes long. If I didn't use that weapon I was using, if I used a level 1 white weapon, that video would have been 4 hours long. Just comprehend the mind that thinks of the world like that. I just can't. I just can't. But I've never understood the concept of, this is too strong, it completely shits on the game, there's no reason to play. Because you don't have to use it. Can you use that as a criticism for difficulty and for balance? Absolutely. Look at Callisto Protocol. Callisto Protocol has a dodge that's so powerful you don't have to learn anything to use it very effectively. It's the equivalent of knowing how to dodge every monster in the game without ever fighting them. Who the fuck wants that, dude? There's one person on this planet that wants that, and he's called Darkside Phil. Every time DSP fights a monster, he gets hurt by a monster, he then goes, how was I supposed to know monster was going to do that? Well, I don't know, Phil, it's called trial and error, playing the game, getting better, improvement. The inevitable progression towards mastery. It's called fucking video games. This guy wants it all programmed into his brain, dude. He wants to be like a fucking precognitive person in Minority Report. He doesn't want to learn. And it's because he's a psycho. Anyhow, this is the Hollander fight. And this fight's really, really funny because if you get really aggressive on this dude, you can keep knocking him down. And when he stands up, he tries to hit you with his purse, his like satchel. He does satchel attacks, and he does his breath move, and if you save Y prompts for his breath move, all he'll ever do is his satchel, and when he does his satchel, you just jump. And the guy can't do anything. So you just beat him up, knock him down, beat him up, jump, beat him up, knock him down, beat him up, jump, and that's the whole fight. And this guy has more HP than Penance, dude. It's unbelievable. Guy's got like 4.6 trillion HP, but the fight is so basic and easy that you don't have to worry about it being difficult because he has nothing that can really hurt you outside of bad detection and bad play. Like, this is easily one of the simplest fights in the game just because of how you can completely control him. And notice when I do Blizzard, it knocks him down. So when he does the bad breath, if you move away from him, do Blizzard, he falls down anyway. Complete and utter control. Like, imagine if you come here on a proper build, what you can do to this boss. He probably can't even move. It's kind of sad, really, when you think about it, the poor guy. Never stood a chance. And I'm not even using stance, either. You don't need to use stance here because you've got him completely locked down. That time he armored it, and then he did it again. This is kind of weird, but I don't agree with that. Now he's getting free armor for no reason at all. Like, what is that about? That's where games really lose me, that. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, if I make a game, that will not happen. Something that has been established consistently will work every single time unless there is a compelling reason as why it should not. And then he trades with me then, which is interesting because I mistimed my jump and I got slapped in the face like a slag. But that's the end of Hollander, and that's the end of that mission, guys. I will see you on the finale. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.